This month I'm sending 10,000 cold emails for my new B2B agency, and I built the entire system using Claude code. That email took my system about 60 seconds to generate. My system pulled the lead from a CSV, scraped the company's website, ran 4 parallel analyses on it, generated the personalization variables, and uploaded the finished email to my Instantly campaign. The whole thing is fully automated. I'm going to share my screen for the whole video and walk you through the exact build top to bottom. There are 2 workflows. One of them handles lead generation and the other one handles qualification and enrichment. Then I'll show you the sender setup and Instantly, and at the end, if you want the actual workflow files to import into your own N8N, the first link in the description gets them to you for free. Let me show you how it works. Quick one about me so you know I'm not pulling this out of thin air. I've been self-employed for 15 years across multiple businesses. I ran a residential and commercial moving company in Germany for 4 years, so I know what it's like to be on the other side of cold outreach. I was the buyer, I was the local service business owner getting pitched by agencies every day. Now I'm building AI systems for businesses like the one I used to run, and I'm using cold email to find them. This is the outbound machine I just finished building. 2 things to get out of the way before we go deeper. 1, most of you watching this don't have a cold email problem, you have a personalization problem. The reason most outbound fails isn't that people don't get the emails, it's that the emails are obviously generic at a glance. So the system I'm about to show you fixes that at scale. Number 2, building this used to take a developer 2 weeks. With Claude Code helping you to modify N8N workflows, it takes a weekend. That's the real shift, and most people aren't paying attention to it yet. Okay, let me show you the build. And before we dive into the workflows, here's the whole stack so you know where each piece fits. First, we have exportapollo.com, where I get the leads. It's a cheaper alternative to using Apollo API directly. I run a search for my ICP, download the CSV, and that's it. Then in N8N, we have 2 workflows. The first one is a lead generation workflow. This one takes the CSV, normalizes the data, and dumps it into Airtable as raw leads. And then the second workflow is the qualification and enrichment workflow. This one is the brain. It validates the email, qualifies the lead against my filters, scrapes the company, generates personalized variables, and uploads everything to Instantly. Airtable is the database where every lead lives. Raw leads go in from workflow 1, then they get enriched by workflow 2 and tagged based on what happened to them. Instantly is the sender. It handles inbox rotation, the warm-up process, the actual sending, and reply tracking. Claude Code is what I use to build, debug, and modify both N8 and workflows. Specifically the JSON parsing nodes, the URL filtering logic, the conditional branching, and the self-triggering loop at the end. The goal is 10,000 personalized code emails out this month, and let me walk you through each piece. So I get my leads from Apollo.com. The reason is simple. It's significantly cheaper than the official Apollo API for the volume I'm running. You set up an Apollo search the normal way, then Export Apollo lets you bulk export the data without paying Apollo's per credit pricing. So I'm not going to walk you through the inside of Export Apollo in this video because the setup is straightforward and they have their own docs. What matters here is the output, a CSV with the lead's name, email, company name, company URL, LinkedIn URLs, headcount, country, and whatever other fields you select. That CSV is what gets fed into workflow number 1. Workflow 1 is simple by design, okay? It only has 4 nodes and it does one job: get the CSV cleanly into Airtable. So first of all, we have the form trigger. I built a simple form interface for this. I open a form in the browser, drop V into it, and hit submit, and that kicks off the workflow. Then extract from file. This node parses the CSV into structured data. Then we have normalized CSV lead. This is a code node. It standardizes the field names, cleans up the formatting, and makes sure the data structure matches what the rest of the system expects. This is one of the nodes Claude Code helped me build. I told it the input structure I was getting from Export Apollo and the output structure Airtable wanted, and Claude wrote the transformation logic for me. And then we have add lead to CRM. This pushes each lead into Airtable as a new row tagged as raw. The total runtime is a few seconds per lead. I can upload 1,000 leads in one shot. Once the leads are sitting in Airtable as raw, I trigger workflow number 2 to enrich them. Now, this is the workflow that does the actual work, and yeah, it's big, so let me walk you through what it does without you getting lost. And the workflow runs lead by lead. Each lead goes through 6 qualification gates in 4 deep analysis stages before the email gets generated. If a lead fails any gate, it gets tagged in Airtable with the reason and skipped. so we never waste API spend on leads that wouldn't convert anyway. So let me walk through it in order. So first we have the webhook. This triggers when a lead is ready to be enriched. So basically you can just check the lead right here and then it triggers the start of the workflow. And then it pulls the lead from Airtable and this node grabs all the data on that lead. Then we have the email validation via never bounce. This is the first gate. If the email is invalid or risky, we tag the lead as a no valid email and stop processing it. Bouncing emails kill cold campaigns, so this protects deliverability before we send a single message. Then we have the country gate. This is a quick check that the lead is in the country I'm targeting. If they're not, we tag the lead and skip them. Then we have a wait node. This adds a small delay to avoid hitting rate limits on the scraper. Then we use a LinkedIn company scraper. This pulls the company's LinkedIn page data. We remove HTML from the LinkedIn page. This cleans the scraped data into readable text. Then we analyze the company. This is an LLM node. This is the first LLM call. It reads the cleaned LinkedIn data and produces a structured company analysis. Then we have a B2B gate. So basically it asks, is this actually a B2B company? If the LLM determined it's a B2C business, we tag the lead, not B2B, and skip them. This saves us from the noise that always slips through ICP filters. Then we have the headcount gate. Is the company between 5 and 30 employees? If they're outside that range, we tag the lead too big or too small and skip them. We only enrich my actual ICP. If the lead passes all 6 gates, valid email, qualifying country, B2B, right size, only then do we start the expensive part, deep website analysis. So here we continue then with scraping the LinkedIn profile and the company homepage scraper. This scrapes the company's website. Then remove HTML from the homepage. This cleans the raw HTML into readable text. Then we check if it's empty or unable to scrape the website. If the homepage came back blank or broken, we tag the lead and stop. About 1 in 1,000 websites fail this, usually because the company is mid-rebuild or out of business. It doesn't really matter, we just skip them. And now the real work begins. We run 4 parallel large language model analysis on the website content. So basically we analyze the company mission. This pulls the company's history, mission, vision, leadership team, the industries they serve, and their brand tone. We analyze offerings and positioning. This pulls their core products, feature lists, pricing models, target customers, and use cases. Then we analyze process and differentiation. This pulls the company's methodology, any proprietary tech, their value proposition, and the key metrics they focus on. And in parallel, filter HTML for URL runs a separate path that looks for case studies and testimonial pages on the site. It scrapes those too and then analyzes proof of success, pulls out the client success stories, testimonials, and logos of any known clients. This is where Claude Code did real work. Okay, I had GPT writing analysis prompts before, but they weren't structured. I sat down with Claude Code, gave it the goal. I need 4 parallel structured analysis of a company's website, each returning consistent JSON I can pull variables from, and Claude wrote the prompts and the JSON parsing nodes that come after each analysis. Once all 4 analyses finish, the workflow moves into the final stretch. Okay, we want a clean company name. This strips out suffixes like Inc., LLC, and GmbH so the email reads natural. Then we determine variables. This is LLM again. This is the final call. It takes the clean company analysis and generates the personalized variables that get injected into my email template and instantly. The first line is the business reference, the specific hook. All of it is custom per lead. And then we update lead with enrichment. This writes everything back to Airtable so I have the full company profile if I ever get on a call with them. Upload lead to instantly. This pushes the lead and the variables into my instantly campaign. And then we add a lead ID. This writes the instantly lead ID back to Airtable so I can track which leads ended up in which campaigns. And here's the part I love. After lead is done, the workflow doesn't stop. Find next lead, queries Airtable for the next unprocessed lead, has next, checks whether there's more to do, and trigger next lead, fires the webhook again. So the workflow self-triggers and runs through the whole list automatically. That entire self-triggering loop was Claude Code. I described what I wanted, And after each lead finishes, find the next unprocessed lead and run the workflow again until the list is done. And Claude built the 3 nodes that handle it. So that's the workflow: 6 qualification gates, 5 LLM analysis, and an automatic self trigger. I built the whole thing in a weekend with Claude Code, helping on every non-trivial node. 2 years ago, this would have been a one-person dev project for 2 weeks. And both workflows, the lead gen one and the enrichment one, are available as a free download. The first link in the description gets you the files so you can import them straight into your own N8. And then real quick on the sender side, because this is where most cold email systems fail. I'm not going deep on instantly setup in this video because that serves its own video, but here's the minimum you need to know. You need multiple sending domains, not your main domain. Lookalike domains work. So my business, for example, is Echelon Leads. So as you can see, I chose Echelon Leads Agency, Echelon Leads Group, Echelon Leads HQ. You get the gist. You need multiple inboxes per domain warmed up for 2 to 3 weeks before you send a single real email. Instantly's warm-up feature handles this for you. Inbox rotation is handled by Instantly automatically. You don't manually decide which inbox sends. Instantly distributes the load across all your warm inboxes for you. The email template itself uses the variables generated by Workflow 2. So every email references the prospect's actual business, what they actually do and who they actually serve, but the structure underneath is the same template. And each email is genuinely different because each company analysis was different. It's the same template producing fully personalized output, but that's the whole point of this setup. So if you watch this far, here's what I'd actually do. You don't need to copy my exact stack, you need to copy the architecture. The pattern is a cheap lead source, a simple ingestion workflow, ruthless qualification gates, deep enrichment, personalization at scale, and the reliable sender. That's the universal pattern. Whether you use Export Apollo or another tool, whether you use Instantly or Smart Lead or something else, the architecture is always the same. And here's the part nobody tells you about cold email. The bottleneck isn't volume, it's personalization at scale combined with ruthless qualification. Anyone can blast 10,000 generic emails. Most people don't filter their list aggressively enough, so they waste API spend on leads that we're never going to convert. The system I just walk you through fixes both. 6 qualification gates before the expensive enrichment even runs, and 4 deep analysis to make the email genuinely specific. So build this, customize it for your offer and your ICP, and then talk to the people who reply. Because the system gets you the conversation gets you the client. When I ran the moving company, the customers who hired us weren't the ones who got the cheapest quote, they were the ones who felt understood on the call. The same principle applies in AI services. The cold email is just a door opener. So that's the system: 2 N8N workflows, 10,000 emails this month, built with Claude Code, and I just walk you through the whole thing top to bottom. If you want both workflow files to import into your own N8N, the first link in the description gets them to you. It's free, no catch. If you want to follow this as it scales, including what reply rates I actually get, what closes, what doesn't, subscribe. And I'm putting one of these out every week. Drop a comment with what your biggest cold email bottleneck is right now. Is it the lead source, the personalization, deliverability, qualification? I read every single comment, and the next video might be built around your comment. So see you in the next one.